Hello, everybody, and welcome to This Week in Birding and Nature Photography on the Sunlit Earth Facebook page. This morning's broadcast is a little bit different because Facebook is way overloaded with all the other nonsensical news of the day. And so we were not allowed to do live streaming. We apologize to our watchers, but this is the recorded version, which happened just a few minutes ago, and we will put this up, and everyone hopefully will still enjoy it. So let me get it together here and get the screen share over to the right place. Let's see. All right. So this is Stephen Ramsden, and we are here for this week's Sunlit Earth broadcast. I am obviously a redbird or a northern cardinal this morning. And it's really getting difficult to breathe in here, so I'm going to go ahead and take this off. But the redbirds are everywhere. The cardinals will be here all year long. And like my friends in the UK will tell you, seeing a cardinal in their yard would cause an immediate uproar in the entire birding community in the UK because they don't have them there. So when I was asking my friend Alexandra to come birding with me here, we were going to have a birding adventure this past spring. The first thing she said was, "Are we going to see some cardinals?" I was like, "Yeah, we'll probably see a cardinal or two." Okay, did I just lose my video? Are we going crazy? You still got me over there, guys?
Nope, we lost video.
Oh my goodness! All right, let me try it again. Stop video. There we go. Okay. Look, man, I'm an IT guy, and this week's broadcast is starting out rough IT wise. However, we've got some of the best known and best photographers and birders in the state on the show right now. So we're not going to let a couple of glitches hold us back. So anyway, Alexandra was wanting to know if we were going to see cardinals, and I said, yeah, pretty much. She couldn't be on this week. She's usually with us, but I thought I'd wear my cardinal mask to get things going. So just one moment. All righty. This week's guest is Wes Hatch, birder extraordinaire. Wes has we'll get to him in a couple of minutes, but Wes has logged over 50 species of birds in every county in the state of Georgia, which is a phenomenal accomplishment just in itself. Steve Rushing is along with us, and Buddy Harrell, and hopefully some others will join in on Zoom. But we're going to have a good show. So what's going on this week in birding? Spring migration, I believe, fall migration, I believe, is winding down a little bit. We've had some clear skies and cool weather over Georgia this week. According to the Birdcast radar, millions and millions of birds left the vicinity Wednesday night and Thursday. And maybe even the American bittern that everybody's been going crazy about over at Clyde Shepard may have gone. We haven't seen him Thursday. Steve, nod your head. Did you see him at all yesterday? Yeah. So the American bittern gave us this fantastic, wonderful show over at Clyde Shepard for about 12 days. Dan Vickers spotted him first, of course. And the rest of us went to grovel over his scraps and look at the American bittern. And I'm going to try to pull up a photograph of that bittern. There's probably 50 million to choose from on my Facebook page, which I'm glad, because that is my favorite bird of all. And then we had the yellow-billed cuckoo. We had Wes. What kind of unusual birds? We met at Clyde Shepard just last week after following Wes's Ebird reports for months to find out where I should go birding the next day, and always seeing Wes Hatch's name on there. I expected a 70-year-old guy with glasses and a long beard, carrying around some binoculars. But when I met Wes, he turns out he's, a young kid, energetic, very, very exuberant guy, very friendly and social. So I was pleased to see that. What kind of weird birds did you see at the preserve that day when we met, Wes?
We had a marsh wren. Adam had a blue wing warbler, which was really nice. I didn't get to see that one, unfortunately. And then I was chasing Kathy Miller's sedge wren. So I was hoping to see that, but found a marsh wren instead, which was nice.
Awesome.
But definitely a lot of warblers moving through that area. Got to see a nice juvenile Cape May. warbler, black and white warbler, lots of Tennessee warblers, northern parulas.
It's a pretty
But
good
yeah,
day.
overall, it was very good. Yeah, I was excited.
Steve Rushing was over there as well, and here's his video from of the American Bittern on the Sunlit Earth Facebook group page. If you're not a member there, you need to go join immediately. Complete with audio, if you can hear that. So this little dude or dudette was sitting in the woods, and I noticed this goatee underneath its eye, this white goatee, which I hadn't seen before on a bittern. I guess they all have them. But I noticed it would extend this little 2 to 3 inch goatee down whenever it was hunting for animals, and I figured that had something to do with the senses. You have any idea what that's about, Wes?
Honestly, I do not.
Yeah, and I've never seen it before either. But Buddy was there rushing. I mean, we had who's who of local birders out there when the bittern was there. Let me share this one other photo of how hard it was to see. Here it is eating something, crawdad or a frog or something. Steve Rushing took this photograph as well.
Definitely looks like a frog.
Yeah. And when Wes came up, he walked up with Adam Betchel, and I'd been staring at this this chunk of brown grass for about an hour and a half that morning. I'd already been there for almost 2 hours. And I looked at it through my camera a couple of times, and I was thinking, yeah, that might be it. Nah, that's not it. That's just some grass. So I just moved on. And then Wes Hatch walks up, and within 10 seconds, he's going, hey, there it is. And everybody's like, oh, my God. And everybody rushes over. And the chunk of grass was the American bittern. And it finally got up and started walking around. I really love that bird. Have you seen a lot of those before, Wes? And did you know what to look for? How did you see it so fast? How did you skunk everybody?
I kind of knew what I was looking for. But yeah, I've seen quite a few in various counties throughout Georgia. Finney Swamp is famous for them. And then also down in McIntosh County.
Did you say Finney Swamp was famous for them?
Yeah, you can get, if you just stay in the evening, you'll see them flush, or you might even flush them while just walking on the dikes. But I've seen a few up here in Cleveland, Ohio, where I'm originally from as well. So I've definitely seen them over the times. But I knew that I was looking for a brown clump that, exactly like Steve Rushing's video, just likes to sway back and forth. So just kind of peering through the grasses, trying to check out some oddity that's brown against the green grasses.
And I'm trying to turn off your spotlight, or turn on your spotlight, because you're more important than me. And the other big thing out there is the yellow-billed cuckoo. And the only time I've seen the yellow-billed cuckoo this year so far is while I was sitting there waiting for the American bittern. And it landed in front of me, and I got this video. I hope you guys are seeing that.
That is awesome.
Yeah, he's just standing there in front of me. And, Southerners call this bird the rain crow. I don't know if you've ever heard that or not, but the legend is that this bird comes out and calls and cooks a lot more right before a big rainstorm's coming in. But I think it might be just coincidental that it happens to be here during migration when the weather is more likely to have a thunderstorm. But they call this the rain crow. My father-in-law, my wife's dad, Lewis Clifton, he has all the names for the birds that no one's ever heard of, like the orange juice bluebird. Anything with any red on it is a red bird. The yellow hammer, is the northern flicker. Yeah, he's got all the cool southern names for everything. So he told me that, yeah, that's a rain crow, and thought I was dumb because I didn't know that. So today's broadcast, Steve or Buddy, we'll get to you and ask you what kind of cool stuff you saw this week. If you want, Steve, if you can unmute, what was the best thing you saw this past week in birding? Besides me, of course.
It's always a pleasure to bird with you, Stephen. I've been birding at home a lot. Matter of fact, I'm in my birding spot right now on the front porch. So other than the bittern, I've been keeping an eye up in the canopy. And so far, we've had American redstarts come through, Cape Bays have come through. I have a serviceberry tree and a dogwood berry tree, and they have really been pulling in a couple of tanagers. I've got gray catbirds that are still here. They're enjoying the nice weather before they go on down to the coast somewhere. So it's been kind of the same characters, but it's been fun to record them here in a little spot of green in Decatur.
Awesome. Are you in your bird or your yard now birding? Or are you inside? Because I don't see your video.
Oh, I'm not sure exactly how to go back to it, but
Sorry. There it is.
I'm where I've been since March the 12th, really.
Yeah.
I
For
set
the
up
COVID.
on the front porch of our house, and our house is up on a hill, which I did the video, and I've got some nice hickories and oaks and other old growth trees here in Decatur that are real bird magnets. And then we're a Georgia Audubon, or formerly Atlanta Audubon Wildlife Sanctuary. So we've done that in terms of putting natives. So I've recorded 86 different species here in our yard in Decatur.
Yeah, that's awesome. Buddy, what have you been seeing this week?
I'm also in Decatur, and I usually go walking every day over in the Decatur Cemetery, and
Great place.
there's some great birding over there. I've seen a lot of hawks and a lot of red-headed woodpeckers over there. It seems to be a sanctuary for red-headed woodpeckers.
Yeah, definitely. They're always over there.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. Buddy, do you think that, by the way, Buddy Harrell's going to be our guest on next week's show, because he's probably the best processor of images I've seen locally, and he's going to clue us in, because he doesn't use the standard stuff everyone does. He does some things a little different. So I'm looking forward to that next Friday on the Sunlit Earth Facebook group. But Buddy, do you feel like the fall migration is waning a little bit, or do you think it's still in full swing?
I think it's probably waning a little bit. I haven't seen as much variety this week as maybe last week. We've had some, now that weather's finally getting decent, I think probably a lot of them are leaving.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, unfortunately. But, there's still always great winter birds here. This is when the waterfowl comes into the preserve and all the water areas are filled up with ducks and the bald eagles. And, it's a great time to be birding, especially with what else is going on in the world.
There was some, while I was over looking for the bittern this week, I never did spot the bittern, unfortunately, but the green heron, there was a green heron over there that was kind of entertaining the other day.
Yeah, and that's a good segue and to what our show next week may be about, because this green heron photo that Buddy put up, now everybody here has got beautiful photos, but that kind of pushed me over the edge, saying, I got to get this guy on, man, because these photos are fantastic that he keeps putting up. So I'll share that one real quick. Yeah, and it's the depth and just the detail. I just thought it was a fantastic photo. Of course, the green heron did all the work, and we'll all agree on that. But it's just a nicely done job of processing, in my opinion. And we're going to get Buddy on here next week to talk about that. And I'm trying to get Big Steve to be a guest also. He's really shy, man. He's a private guy, but we're going to get him on here, and he's going to tell us a little bit about birding. So
even I'll interrupt you. I apologize,
please.
But we have the migrants coming through and moving on, but some of our winter residents, as you said, will start showing up. It probably won't be long before we hear white-throated sparrows, which is my favorite sparrow by far. I just love those little birds. Kinglets will start popping in, acting sporadic up in the trees. So,
and don't forget the brown creeper.
That brown creeper
Don't forget it's a red-breasted nuthatch invasion here too.
Yeah, definitely.
That eruption seems to be real, Wes. Yeah, that's cool.
Hey, Steve, wasn't it last year about this time when we were desperately hunting the fox sparrows?
A little bit later than this, but there'll be another bird that'll become a celebrity bird at Clyde Shepard, that when the word spreads that they're in.
That's a beautiful bird, and you're the first person that showed me that bird, and I've probably seen it before, just didn't know what I was doing, because I'm an amateur birder, man. I'm no expert. I'm learning, and you guys, all of you on this call, and Lynn, make it really easy for people to learn this hobby without being exclusionary towards them, and I really appreciate that, because I'm a physicist and an astronomer. I can explain to you all day long about the physics of light and why you're seeing that bird, but I can't even begin to capture the beauty and the evolutionary outstanding nature of just the science involved in these birds. And having guys like you out there has really been helpful to me, Steve.
Well, thank you. But, you know, I'm pretty prone to following Kathy Miller and Buddy around, slinking around. I'm always lurking behind Kathy because
Right.
she's good at
I do
birding.
appreciate it. And Buddy, you know, these guys are all friendly. Wes really exemplified that when I met him at the nature preserve. You know, it's like, you know, the first thing Wes did when he spotted the bittern was tell everyone else around him, here's the bittern, come take a picture of it. You know, he didn't get in there and hog the spot or anything. And I've seen people do that. To me, that exemplifies and kind of personifies what Sunlit Earth is trying to do, which is get more people to go outside and see the beauty of nature. And that's the whole purpose of it. And thanks all you guys for that. So Ebird and iNaturalist are two very important apps that have helped me immensely, especially Ebird, and I'm just now getting into iNaturalist. They're basically apps for your smartphone, or you can use on your computer, where you record the birds you see. That's the main gist of it. But Cornell runs these apps, and they correlate this data and use it for real citizen science research. And I've met a lot of people birding that don't do it, and they don't see any value in it or don't want to do it. It's too much of a hassle or whatever the reasons are. I'm trying to convince you on this show that it is really a great thing to do. I can't tell you how many birds I have found by going to Ebird and looking up Wes Hatch's reports, or Steve Rushing, or Kathy Miller, or Jeff Sewell, or any of the names we all know on Ebird. And had they not taken the time in just a few minutes to report their birds, I would have missed, you know, dozens of species. So I think it's a pretty important thing to do. And I would like to encourage more people to do it. It's also a fantastic resource for looking up what's going on in birding around your area. iNaturalist is really expanded upon that by adding foliage and any, not just the animal kingdom, but all kingdoms of life on the planet are cataloged. I don't see too many bacteria, but it won't be long because I've got a microscope and I may do that this week. Wes Hatch created a project page specifically for the Clyde Shepard Nature Preserve on iNaturalist. And I've been using it, and I was reluctant to go into it because, you know, here's another app I got to follow around. But really, once I did it a couple of times, it was super simple, and it's even faster than Ebird. So we're going to get Wes to kind of give us an intro lesson here on Ebird and iNaturalist. And hopefully it will convince some people to maybe use them. And if you don't want to do it while you're out birding, that's great. You know, just remember what you saw or write it down on a piece of paper or something and go home and report it. I think it's a very important addition, and it has helped me and many, many other people enjoy the hobby and learn faster, you know, cut that learning curve down a little bit.
Stephen, I want to not be shy and plug this and brag a little bit. I have a son who did his doctoral postdoc with Smithsonian Migratory Bird Center and has gone on and done several other researches. The Smithsonian Migratory Bird Center relies heavily on the Ebird data, and they just recently published a report in the proceedings of the Academy of Sciences on dispersal patterns of migratory birds versus resident birds based on climate changes that are impacting their ranges. And a significant amount of that data came from Ebird and was used by the USGS guys to do the modeling for it. So that data really matters.
Right. Yeah, it's real citizen science that's used by real scientists like Steve's son. And you can plug his name. Is that Clark?
That's him.
Yeah, Clark Rushing. I don't think I've met Clark, but I've seen a lot of his work, including, yeah. Go ahead.
Well, they're doing a really nice study on painted buntings down on the coast right now. And again, the data points that they're getting up and down the coast from birders is very important to that work.
Great. That is awesome. Wes, thank you for being on the show. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started in birding.
Well, thanks for having me. So my name is Wes Hatch. I originally grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, and moved down to Georgia about 2014. So been down in Georgia about 6 years. currently up in Cleveland, Ohio right now, so I'm super excited. Just got my black-capped chickadee for the first of year.
Awesome.
As most Georgians know that we only really have Carolina chickadees. You'll see reports of black-capped chickadees, but that's people that looking in their field guides, they see black-capped chickadee and they see Carolina chickadee and they can't tell the difference because physically you can't really tell the difference. You actually have to hear them sing. Range-wise, we only have Carolina chickadee in the state of Georgia. If we get a bander like Charlie Muse up into Raven County up in the top of the mountains, we might get a black-capped chickadee, but it would be super rare. And it would be even an intergrade possibility where we're actually having hybrids between Carolina and black-capped chickadee. Here in the state of Ohio, we actually, in Cincinnati, we have Carolina chickadees. In Cleveland, we have black-capped. And then Columbus, we actually have hybrids. So there's a whole line where you can't even count a chickadee because it's a hybrid. So chickadees are really cool, really fun. It's one of my starting birds that as I watch my bird feeders, I got really into watching these birds and how brazen they are. They'll land on you or they'll land on the feeder while you're still putting it back up. They're really cool and fun.
Yeah, man.
Little exciting animals.
That's awesome.
But background for me is I got started bird watching through my grandmother. She used to take my brother and I looking for alligators, but she would point out the birds. And when my brother and I got too big to sit on the golf cart next to her, I started taking my rollerblades, stealing her binoculars, and going out to the same ponds that she used to take me to and just trying to figure out what I was seeing. Ebird didn't show up till 2007. I think it showed up a little earlier than that, but it was about 2007 when I connected with it. So I've been doing it for 13 years now. So I've seen the growth and I've seen the changes over the time and really enjoyed being able to not just do just states. I've able to put world checklists in. I was able to travel a little bit before I graduated high school. So I have a couple checklists from Africa and a couple from South America as well. So I was able to finally add those in. And then they started adding photos and audio, which really helped the reportings of rare birds. The biggest feature that I love about Ebird is I'm a lister. So I'm going out there and I'm trying to get as many species in a state or a county or even a park or even on that exact checklist. My favorite feature is this alert system that they have. So they have a needs alert where they will actually look at your checklist and what you have for your life list for whatever location it is. And then they will send you an email saying, hey, this bird was spotted by so-and-so at this location. And then you can actually go and chase that bird. Chase is what Twitch or ebirders call when they're going after a rare bird.
Yeah,
or
I've never even heard of that feature.
Yeah. So that's one of the best features I find on Ebird. But yeah, it's and then iNaturalist. I've just recently got into iNaturalist probably about a year ago, and it's kind of consumed my life ever since. One of the big things I'm trying to do is document as many species as I can in Georgia. I have, I think, about 2,000 species that I've documented, and that includes plants, fungi, insects, fish, reptiles, amphibians, birds, you name it. It's,
it's like a super Ebird.
It's a super Ebird. And that one, so Ebird's run through Cornell, and I believe iNaturalist is run through one of the California university systems. So it's interesting to see. They're different platforms, but it's definitely fun to see and use.
So just quickly, in order to get these things on your phone, they both have phone components that you can use in the field. You just look up, you go to your app store or whatever you're using, and you, let me turn this echo down, sorry. And you just look up Ebird, you spell it right, of course. and it comes up hopefully very quickly to show you the Ebird app, and you download it. And when you've done that, you end up with this interface for Ebird. Okay, you have to give them a little bit of info, an email address, whatever to confirm. And then when you start your checklist, you just start it, and it uses a GPS feature to tell you where it thinks you are. And if you don't like that, you can just click the auto selected location and change it to any any saved location that's nearby. Like if I wanted to do this list from the Beltline, there it is. And you just type in the birds you see with a few letters and say how many you saw, and then done. And it keeps your list of birds that you've seen. And the iNaturalist app is very similar. I'm going to hand it back to you in just a moment, but the iNaturalist, let's see if I can do that. Yeah, there it is. The iNaturalist app, it looks very similar, and you just take a picture of whatever you're seeing. And I think we had a little video upset there, but that's all right. And you just take a picture of whatever you're seeing. So go ahead and continue on, Wes. Sorry for the interruption. I just want to let people know how to get the apps right off the bat.
Yeah, no problem. So right now we're seeing Steven's iNaturalist count, and you can see actually all the different species he's logged, including an unknown down there that he either didn't ID or didn't actually know what it was. Right. And the cool thing about iNaturalist is you don't even have to know what you're looking at. As long as you know, okay, I'm seeing something, I found a feather on the ground. I took a picture of a feather the other day up in Paulding County, and I have no idea what species of bird it came from, because unless the feather is attached to the bird, I don't really know what it's coming from. So I took a picture of it, and I just put in birds. Well, someone a little bit later on came in and identified that feather for me, someone who actually knows about feathers. So you have actual scientists on iNaturalist, and they're helping you get to the ID of whatever animal you're looking at, whatever plant. And that's really helpful when you're starting out as a naturalist.
Right. I noticed that sometimes it gives you an immediate response to what it is, and sometimes it takes a while.
Yeah. There's been times where it's been over a year since I posted it, and then you just need the right person to look at it, and they'll respond a year later that it's this animal, and it'll help you out.
What does the project page for Clyde Shepard Nature Preserve do for us, and why is that important?
Well, let me share that screen so I can kind of just talk about it.
Right, I'm going to turn my video off and do the best that I can do to be quiet, but I'm a big talker, you know that.
So let's.
All right, we got you.
All right. So here's the Clyde Shepard Nature Preserve page right now. What it looks like is when you get into it is kind of this overview. You've got your recent observations. If you scroll down, you see who the most observations, most species. Right now it's Sean Taylor at the ATL Nature. She's a big naturalist in the city of Atlanta.
Yeah, I know.
And then on the far right, you can see what the species that has the most observations. At Clyde Nature Preserve, they've got Mark Mandika's Amphibian Foundation that comes out a lot. So you can see that there's a lot of southern redback salamanders and northern slimy salamanders. Jewelweed, common jewelweed is really good for our hummingbirds. Great blue heron is a big one that's been seen, squirrels, and a tulip tree.
Wes, can you tell us the website and how you got there to see all this data?
Yeah, no problem. Yeah. So I went to inaturalist.org. Let me just get you to the main page. So usually when you get to iNaturalist, it'll kind of look like this. And then from here, this is kind of just my homepage. It's almost like a Facebook wall. And so it gives you information of what other people, your friends, are seeing. Maybe someone has commented, like this guy commented and saying this was an American alligator. Research grade means that someone has agreed to what your ID was. And if you get 2 or more agrees, it becomes research grade, which then helps out our scientists with range maps and any other information that they need from it. But to get to the Clyde Nature Preserve project, I would go down to community and I would go to projects. Once you join it, you can go to manage and it would be under here, but you can just type in the search bar Clyde Shepard. And
thanks for spelling that right.
no problem. I'm pretty bad at spelling, but so this was a BioBlitz that was done a few years ago, but that's not the correct one. This is the correct one right here. And over here, you can usually, since I'm already joined in, I would just hit join project, and then I could be one of the members that join. So here are the 3 people that are already in the joined. You don't have to join it if you don't want to, but when you join a project like this, it gives you updates of what other people are seeing. And it just gives you so much information. The stats down here that just tells you how many are research grade and how many are not research grade. So there's still a lot of stuff that needs ID. If you go over to stats over here, it gives you a little bit more of a breakdown of the different types of species. So there's 107 species of plants that have documented. There's definitely way more. It just, we need to cover it a lot more on the grounds. 47 species of birds, but if you went to Ebird, you'd probably see over 150 species have been documented on the grounds at Clyde Shepard. So this is just how many species have photographs that have been uploaded to that location. So as soon as we get more photos being uploaded for Clyde Shepard, that number will go way up. You got reptiles, amphibians, arachnids, so your spiders, insects is a big one, and then fungi is a big one. Fungi is usually a lot bigger than even birds, just because there's such a large diversity of fungi. If you scroll over to this 265 species and click on that, it'll actually bring up all the different animals and plants that have been seen based on observation. So jewelweed being number 1, and then just scroll on down, you can see the different birds that have been posted. Hermit thrush is a bird that we're going to be expecting here shortly.
Right.
Different plants, different insects.
Yeah, I posted 4 photos yesterday, and I never even noticed the beautyberry bushes around the bird feeders, and iNaturalist prompted me to go take some pictures of things around me, and it's already helped me immensely, and I just started using it.
Yeah, and it'll get you, I mean, beautyberry is a great thrush plant. So when we're looking for our Swainsons or gray-cheeked or hermit thrush or veeries, that's a great plant to be looking at. I saw that you also uploaded a picture of pokeweed. Pokeweed's great for our catbirds, which happens to be right there.
Pokeweed's great for everything, man.
Yeah.
Tree frogs, everything.
A lot of people, they might not there's a lot of goldenrod on the backside. There's some ragweed, which I know I'm allergic to. But a lot of these plants also are big hosts for insects. We've got some spittle bugs over here. But yeah, as you scroll down, you can just see the different species that have been seen. Here's our thrushes right here. An owl has been seen. We know about that one. Different reptiles. So we have a bunch of turtles here. We've got a racer, narrow-mouthed toad. That's probably one of my favorite reptiles right there because it sounds like a sheep baaing at night. Now here we've got a ray fin fish. Someone didn't know exactly what it is. You can click on that observation and you can go to the picture that they shared. Can't exactly see what this picture is. Can't even see what's in that picture as you look a little closer. Honestly, it looks like mosquito fish to me, which is an invasive species.
But it's not a ray. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but you can agree that there's definitely a fish in there. I don't know what it is. But if I wanted to suggest, if I knew the actual identification of it, I could search mosquito. I spelled it right. And then mosquito fishes and suggest that it's a mosquito fish.
Right.
But
Okay.
I don't know the actual.
So you're helping identify it as well. So the members identify for each other.
Yes, exactly. So if you're good at fishes and you can actually see the fish into that little jar that they have there, then you can help out. And then I just do the back button to get back. Back one more time. And then the last thing I like to see is the map. So this is the map of Clyde Shepard, and then it shows you where all the pinpoints of what people are seeing. So you can see all the trails and how people are actually seeing the stuff on the trails. The pond, the front area is very well known for what people have been seeing.
Yeah, that kind of corresponds with the amount of trash I pick up there too. So what does the app, how do you use it in the field?
So it's super easy to use in the field. This is not something where you're going to be able to really take pictures of birds because they're a little too far away, but you're using your iPhone or whatever smartphone you have, and it's just point and click. You're pulling up the screen, the main screen for iNaturalist. It's going to show your profile, and hold on, I'm going to pull it up on mine. I can't show this to you, but I'm going to pull it up on mine.
I'll try to pull it up on mine too real quick.
Okay. Here, let me stop sharing so that you can share the screen if you can. So it's going to pull up your profile, which is all the different species that you have previously posted. You're going to see a little camera that says observe. You click that observe, you put it on whatever insect, plant, or animal that you want to try and observe, and you take the picture. As soon as you take the picture, you're going to get a retake or a next. So if you didn't like the picture, you can always retake it. But in this, you're not trying to get a picture that you're going to be worthy of putting on Facebook, something that's you want to be proud of. All you just need is the identification characters of it. And then it'll come up and it'll give you a chance to take more than one photo. Or so with mushrooms, I like to take a picture of the top of the mushroom and then the underside of the mushroom, give you two different views. And then you go to what did you see?
Okay. So I'll do that here real quick. With the screen, you can see my screen now, and on the bottom in the center has a picture of a camera. And when you see something cool, you just press that, right? And choose camera. And I'm going to take a picture of this meteorite. Of course, it ain't going to work, but
you could probably take a picture of the owl on your desktop.
Yeah, let me do that. Let's see what happens. A barn owl. Okay, so I just took a picture of the barn owl, and I'm going to use the photo, and I'll delete this, of course.
Yeah, so now you go to what did you see?
Yeah, what did I see? And then here comes a recommendation, right?
Yep, so it pulls up multiple different species, but usually that first one is the one that you're going to want. If you look under that barn owl, it says visually similar or seen nearby. That visually similar or seen nearby is going to let you know that this is one of the species that has been seen in your area. And then actually on the far right-hand side, there was a little info circle that you can click on, and it'll actually give you more information on that species. It'll give you a range map.
Yeah, let me get back to
and this is all good information because sometimes it'll say visually similar, but nothing says seen nearby. So like this ferruginous hawk over here, if Stephen would click on that ferruginous information, he would see that on the range map, it's only to the west and with like random dots going east of the Mississippi. So it's not most likely going to be the bird.
So very unlikely.
Yeah.
So this is like AI bird splaining.
Yeah. So then you just hit back and then you just kind of figure it out. What am I seeing here? But the most often it's the barn owl at the top, or whatever the option at the top is your most likely one. And if you don't know what it is, you can always do, well, we're pretty sure in this genus, you can select that, and then one of the scientists that are already on the page will come in and say, okay, this is a barn owl, and they'll say barn owl, and then all you have to do is say I agree. If you look at Steven's page here, he's got all these little these little communication symbols with a 1 or a 2 on it. That means someone's commented and agreed or disagreed. So if he goes to the communication symbol with the dots in the middle.
I'm looking.
Right above the map.
Right above the map. Okay, yeah, dots.
And then he scrolls down, he can see that Georgiano agreed that it was American pokeweed.
Okay.
Now that Georgiano has agreed, this whole observation has become research grade.
Wow.
So that's
Awesome.
actually him helping out with making that scientific range map
Cool.
and helping scientists plot these on the area.
Yeah, so I
Red-headed
had
bush
2
crickets
agreeers
are really
there.
cool.
Well, you
yeah,
know, I just took this picture on the post at Clyde Shepard while I was looking for the bittern, and I didn't know what it was.
yeah.
But now I do.
And you can see right here, he actually put down the genus, and then Skitterbug, who is actually the #1 naturalist in Georgia, he commented that it's red-headed bush cricket. So what Steven can do is he can actually click the agree button, so to say that he actually agrees with Skitterbug and S'moreman's identification.
So it changed my observation from what I originally put to what I agreed that it was.
Yep.
Oh, that is really cool.
Yeah. And so the phone is great for taking the pictures. The desktop part is much better at showing all your data. So if you want, I can take over and I can show you.
Yeah, just when you share your screen, it takes over. So. There you go.
All right. Perfect.
And I'm going to mute again. Sorry for interrupting you so much. It's just a fascinating topic that I'm really interested in.
So, let's see here. All right. So we're back here on Clyde. And then you go over to this your observation, click on that. And it brings you to kind of your homepage of all your observations put onto a map. So you can see that I've got observation out here in Alaska, some over here in the west, down in Colombia, a couple in Africa. But for the most part, I'm mostly in the southeast. And then you can scroll in and you can see just all the different data points that I have put in. I've done a considerable amount of stuff throughout the state of Georgia. But you can just keep scrolling in and eventually it will get you to different color flags. These different colors actually represent the different branches of animals. So fungi is purple, blue is anything in the animal kingdom, orange is insects, I believe. Yep, insects, and then green is plants. And then purple, I have seen purple randomly. I don't see any dark purples right now, but that's like protozoa, which is really rare. I don't have too many in the protozoa category. But you can come over here and you can see that I've got 2,135 species. My most observed species is great blue heron. I do a lot more birds. Hollies, only because I was tracking a bunch of hollies at my previous workplace at Alachi Nature Science Center. And then you can just see the various animals, mostly birds for me, just that's my hobby. But the pictures that are on here, those are not my pictures. This is not my picture. That's just the picture of the bird that comes with the placard. And then you can actually check out, all right, who's your #1 who's been helping you out identify things? For me, it's this guy right here, Pusak or Pusak. And then William Y's photo. Osprey here, this is Liam Wolf. He's from Augusta area. And so these guys are the ones that are helping me identify my species, because even though I peg myself as a naturalist, I still don't know everything out there. There's so many plants and insects that I have no clue what is, and these guys are the ones that are helping me identify stuff. And it's just a fun way to see. My favorite part of the whole thing is just getting out there and exploring and seeing where I've been. I've clearly been throughout most of the state of Georgia, and this is just most of this is bird photos. And it's just a fun way. And I've created projects where I can actually see the different various things. So this is a project that I created on my own that's just gives me all my birds, my leps, which is your butterflies and moths, odes is your dragonflies, mammals, and then herps, which is reptiles and amphibians. So this is just all the different stuff I've uploaded just for the year. And you can see that I've seen 290 species. Plants is one of the big ones, and insects is a big one on mine. But I can break down the stats of what I've seen and photographed. Clearly birds, I've photographed 174 species, reptiles 26 this year, amphibians 15,
Wow.
insects
There's a wealth of
67,
information for your personal
and
record
then
keeping.
mammals 8. So just, yeah, it gives you a great way to look at the different stuff that you have taken photographs of and seen over the time. Now there's also birds that I've seen this year that I never got a photograph of. So, you know, that's where eBird comes into play. It's still tracking me all those birds that, even though I couldn't get that photograph of it, I was able to still see it.
So that's awesome, man. I mean, I had no idea there was this much information available, and it just tells me, and I consider myself a pretty good IT guru, and I should spend more time on this. Clearly,
it's so much fun to just dig through, and you can put like, you know, if Buddy's over at Decatur Cemetery, he can make a map for Decatur Cemetery, and then just start putting his observations. Or Steve has been birding a lot from his house. He can make his own property outline and then just put all the information in there for his property outline and just see what he's been seeing in his own backyard and kind of map out the different plants and insects along with all those birds that he's been seeing.
Yeah,
as well.
so create his own project.
Yeah.
Awesome. So what about eBird?
eBird's my favorite. I am absolutely addicted to it. I'm a numbers guy, so my biggest thing is I'm trying to get 100 species in every single county. It is kind of ridiculous because Georgia has 159 counties. It's the second most counties in any state outside of Texas. So I'm currently, if I scroll down here, I'm currently at 28 counties with over 100, and I've got every county in Georgia over 50.
So you do a lot of driving.
I do a ton of driving. I've put over 40,000 miles on my car within the last year. So
wow,
a lot of driving.
So I'll pull up the screen one more time of the, are you ready to move on to eBird? There it is.
I'm sharing the eBird right now.
Okay. So again, I went outside just a moment ago, and I'm sorry for the slight echo here.
You want me to stop sharing?
No, you don't have to do that. Mine will overtake yours.
Okay.
And I was going to just start my own checklist here, and I observed 3 birds outside. So I'll just use the location that it says, and it taps into your GPS. So I'm going to type in what I saw. I saw a ruby-throated hummingbird, and here's how I do it. Ruby-throated hummingbird. How many? 1. And I saw an American crow. I saw 3 of those. And I saw a northern cardinal. And all awesome birds. I know everybody's jealous. So there's my birds that I saw. And if I'm done birding, eBird takes note of your location and measures your track. And when I'm done birding for that day, I can say, okay, stop birding. And are you sure you're done birding? Yeah, I'm done. Okay, 1 observer. And it's calling this incidental. But if I were traveling, I would say, yeah, this was a 5-minute walk, and I walked, 0.1 miles. And then, is this all the birds you were able to identify? Yes. 3 species. Done. And then I submit my checklist to eBird, and that's it. I'm done. It's super, super, super easy to do this. And really, I would encourage everyone to be recording their birds either on the app or on a piece of paper. And then when you get home, record the birds. So I'll let you take over from that. And that's just how easy it is to do eBird, y'all.
So I'm going to show you a little bit more information on the backside of eBird. So this is kind of like what your profile screen would look like if you had submitted some sort of checklist. It would show up over here on the right-hand side. So you can see that I have a Clyde Shepard over here. And then on the left-hand side, it shows you how many species you observed in your lifetime throughout the world. Species with photos, complete checklist that you've submitted. Complete checklist means that you, instead of saying an incidental, you actually track the time, or you track the the amount of miles that you walked. I don't do audio with my species. I do have one species that does have audio though. It's a species that you can only tell by audio, so I had to take audio for it. Then a little smaller breakdown. You can do your year, your month, and your day, how many species you've seen in the year. So I've only seen 237 this year, which is one of my lower years of species.
Oh, that's a disgrace, Wes. I can't believe that. That's more than I've ever seen my entire life.
But yeah, over here on the right-hand side, you can see that for just Georgia, like I'm just on Georgia now, I can actually change the region if I wanted to. But it gives you per year. You can see that my 225 species for Georgia this year is actually not the lowest. I had a 195 last year, but I'm tracking pretty low this year on number of species seen overall. And down here, it just shows you kind of what you can see in October. I'm currently up in Ohio, so I'm going to have a flat zero for a little while.
Right.
And I had a flat zero in 2019 as well, since I wasn't doing as much birding. But one of my favorite things is to go to this Explore tab, and you type in a region. So this could be the state of Georgia. It could be a county. So I like to do DeKalb County, as I'm going to try and do.
I feel a Dan Vickers spotting coming up. Go ahead.
What's that?
I feel a Dan Vickers spotting coming up here.
Oh yeah, you're gonna definitely see Dan Vickers out here. So the first thing you see is sightings. This was all the last birds that were seen. Whoever put their last checklist in. For some reason, Ebird is super slow updating right now. It's been 45 hours since the last update, which is unusual. It's usually within one day that it'll update. So we have none of our October birds updated into here yet. So September 30th, Linda DeSantis was the last person to put a check in, a checklist in. But you can see that she actually added a photo, clearly from her backyard, and she's got a rose-breasted grosbeak just chilling on her feeder right there. That's a lot of fun to see, is what people are seeing and what birds they're seeing. You can see an American bittern by Dan Vickers right there. Chilling on the right-hand side, there's a nice chestnut sighted from Stan Chapman. And then if you scroll down just a wee bit, you can see recent visits. Here's the different people. Let me get this bar out of here. And then you can see the date. You can see the location if you just kind of hover your mouse over this. So different locations, not different amount of species. The top eBirders for this county, Jeff Sewell being just blowing everybody away. Patrick Brees and Kathy Miller and Patty McLean. These are just big birders for DeKalb County. Some of these are just big birders in general in Georgia. Top hotspots. These are all the different hotspots that you can go to in DeKalb County. Now, are there more than just these hotspots? For sure. People have gone to many places over the time. You can click on more hotspots just to get even a bigger view of all the different hotspots there are in the county of DeKalb.
No, I noticed my friend Todd Bertner on that previous page. He's an air traffic controller that I got into birding a couple of years ago, and I saw his name on there. I'm happy to see that.
Was he?
There he is, Todd Bertner, down on the bottom a little bit lower. Yeah, so there's Todd Bertner, and he went to Brownwood Park, which is where he lives, and that's the birds he saw, right?
Yep.
So by clicking any of those links, you can go and look at any of those different things sorted from the database, right?
So you can click on top. You can click on here, or you can click on here. On his actual name will take you to his profile. And the profile is just a great way to see, okay, well, he stays clearly in the Atlanta area. He's been down to Savannah once. You can zoom out and see if he's been to other states. So he's gone to Texas, Arizona, California.
I had no idea.
He's gone worldwide. He's gone to Spain and Italy. So he clearly wasn't birding if he only saw one bird in Spain and Italy. But he has reports from over there as well.
Yeah, which we should mention. I guess it's worldwide, and people all over the world participate in this, not just
Yeah,
the
and
United States.
that's the fun part is I mean, if you go on a trip to Italy, you can log 10 species over there and then throw it up onto Ebird. Your Ebird app will work on there as well in those different areas.
Wow.
Now, if we go to Clyde Shepard is number 4 in number of species. It needs 5 more to pass low water. So let's try and get those 5 species. And
Yeah, and that's just in DeKalb County, right? Or the
yeah, that's
state?
just DeKalb
Okay.
County.
Okay.
Some of the other counties have even bigger species. This is actually one of my pictures right here. But you can see just all the American bittern pictures that have been posted recently. Cuckoo. We've got Cape May warbler here. Titmouse.
Yes, where they have October 2nd checklists up there. So maybe it's just some of it's updated, some of it hasn't. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, this was updated 3 seconds ago.
Okay. I'm kind of upset that I don't see my name on here.
So here we've got Chris.
You made me feel important. Am I in there anywhere?
You are.
Oh, there I am.
I've seen yours.
I'm sandwiched on top of Dan Vickers.
Well, so you're the last person to see a cuckoo. So that just shows you October 1st, your checklist was the last checklist to have a cuckoo on it. You can just see like the various different postings. September 29th was the last time the American bittern was confirmed.
Yep.
Here's Steve with the blue grosbeak.
And there's his
So
photo.
you can actually click on the photo to bring it up.
Wow.
That's a rose-breasted grosbeak. Sorry, Steve. I don't know if that was a fat finger. So that's a juvenile rose-breasted grosbeak.
Birds planted right here live on Sunlit Earth.
Then you got Wages Carroll, who I met the other day. He's actually the one who showed me the Cape May warbler. The reason why I come up on as the Cape May warbler, I was a checklist that was actually inputted after Wages was, so therefore I am showing up as the last person to see the Cape May, even though Wages was the first one to show me it. But it's a fun way of seeing. One of my favorite things is to scroll all the way down to the bottom to see what species hasn't been seen. So Sora by Jeff Sewell, Virginia Rail by Drew Whiteleg.
Virginia Rail, huh?
Yeah. So and then you can see here. So May 2nd, 2000 was when Sora was last seen at the park. American woodcock, olive-sided flycatcher, snowy egret, white ibis. These are all extreme rarities, and these were the last time they were seen at the park and ebirded. Now, could they have been seen sometime at the park and not ebirded? For sure.
Yeah.
Definitely people that don't ebird or don't share their sightings. And this is how it'll stay in here. Ooh, king rail. That's quite interesting. That's a super rare bird. And I was not expecting to see that.
That's at Clyde Shepard, reported to Clyde Shepard.
Yeah, that was reported at Clyde Shepard, which is really interesting. And then you can see Jeff Sewell had a western kingbird, which is also a super rare bird.
Now, how does eBird determine, because, a lot of, when I first started it, I would report the wrong species a lot because I didn't know anything, or just mistakenly, sometimes you just hit the wrong thing. So does eBird have a way in which they do any kind of verification?
Yes. So eBird has reviewers. So as you're going through that checklist that Steven showed you, if you click on something like a western kingbird, first of all, on the far right-hand side, it's going to come up as rare. And then when you click on it, you can't actually submit your checklist until you have some sort of information in that box. Now, you could just say continuing, and that would satisfy the actual part of allowing you to submit your checklist. But a reviewer is going to come on the other side and say, okay, well, this bird was never continuing because it was never there, and say, all right, can you give me some more details on this bird, a photo or anything to help confirm that this bird was actually seen there.
Right.
And so you're going to want to put in as many details, your basic characteristics of the bird that you were seeing, or any photos or audio that you have of that bird. And that's going to help the reviewer say, okay, this bird was really actually seen here.
Right. So there is some erroneous reports or incorrect reports that go in
Yeah,
and make it through sometimes.
There's definitely, yeah. So there's stuff that, falls through the cracks. But the cool thing about Ebird is there's a way for you even to help out check. So Wilson's Warbler right here, definitely a Wilson's Warbler. You can see that black cap on there. Not the greatest photo. Someone gave it a 2 stars. But if this was not a Wilson's Warbler, I could report it. And that would that would be another way of triggering the process of reviewing that species.
I didn't even notice the rate quality thing down there either. I've never seen that before.
Yeah, you can rate the quality of the photo. I mean, a 5-star, it just has to be absolute stellar quality. To me, this photo works perfectly fine because I can see that that's clearly a Wilson's Warbler, but it's not completely in focus. It's not very close.
That barn owl that I saw from me right above that, I saw that great horned owl. I mean, the great horned owl attacked the barred owl in their box one day when I was out there watching, and I knew it was a great horned owl and I could see it clearly, but I noticed that I'm the only one that's reported it, and that would lend a little bit of, and I'm a beginning birder, so I guess if people see that, they might say, yeah, maybe not.
And then you've got a meadowlark up here. It's just and that doesn't say that it's a rare bird. Like great horned owl is expected in DeKalb County. It's not a rare bird.
Right.
It's just it's never been reported. Eastern meadowlark, that's a really good bird for a forested area in the middle of a city, because you would normally think of a meadowlark.
I'm pretty sure that was an error too, because I know what an eastern meadowlark looks like. It's possible that might have been like a flicker that I just reported incorrectly. So I've probably got lots of things I should go back and review and stuff. But their algorithms and their research, like Steve's kid's doing, they probably factor in the fact, that a certain percentage of these are not going to be as accurate as others.
Stephen, that's right. They do have a way to take noise out of the signal. And by the way, this is a living example of correction. I just went in and changed it to rose-breasted grosbeak.
Sorry about that.
No. I'm glad you caught it, because but you're right. It was kind of a fat-fingered. I mean, I would be very ashamed if I missed it, but it did give me a chance to update it. So thank you.
Yeah, so that's another thing. You can correct your observations later and improve the data. So I don't even know if it showed up yet or not on there, but it may have already shown up as corrected. And rose-breasted and blue are right next to each other on the list. And when you're out in the woods, you got foggy glasses and a COVID mask on, sometimes you hit the wrong thing, man.
Exactly. Everybody does it. And then one thing, it's, here you've got your goose species over here. It's not a bad thing to put in a species like kinglet species. If you didn't see it very well,
Right.
just go ahead and put the species in. Here she says very active tiny birds, flicking wings, silhouetted in treetops. It could have been both species. She didn't know. And honestly, I do it all the time. And sometimes it pops up as rare, which drives me nuts, because if I can't ID something, it shouldn't be forced into me IDing it. So I have to type in all this stuff. Right. So goose is.
So anything is better than nothing. So if you don't know, like that goose at Murphy County this past year that looked just like a snow goose, and I got birds playing and beat up on it really bad on Facebook, and it was probably just some variation of interbreeding between a bunch of different geese. Yeah. So goose species would have been better in that case than trying to insist that it's a snow goose.
Well, and then also there's domestic goose. So you could have put domestic down there if it had some sort of domestic lineage in it. So, here we've got a domestic goose over here, a domestic type Muscovy duck. And then tanager species, couldn't quite see which tanager was it. Sometimes when these birds are high up in the trees and the light is just horrible. There's times I never see them.
This is particularly helpful for fly catchers.
Yes.
Amen. So let
Like
me,
this one right here is
yeah, fly catcher
today.
species. And Mary Turlington knows what she's doing when she's birding. So when I see hers, I'm pretty sure that it's accurate.
Let's see here.
But you may not know who it is, so there's no way.
Crow species is actually more common. A lot of people like to say, oh, it's just an American crow, but it's really hard to tell the difference between an American crow and a fish crow when it's just flying over and not calling.
I would tell my famous crow joke here, but I won't. It ends with But go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. But unless you hear it, I can't even ID the difference.
Yeah.
So
in our 15 or so minutes, can I ask you a question about using this?
Yeah.
Something I do quite often is I want to go birding somewhere and I want to see a specific species somewhere close to me. So if I want to see a barn owl and I want to know where the most reliable close place is for me to drive to see a barn owl, is there a way I can do that on eBird?
Yeah, so you go up to this Explorer tab, and then you go to, I actually like to you can either go to Explore Species or Species Map. I like to do Species Maps. So let's say barn owl. So it will pull up barn owl. Barn owl is actually very widely known throughout all of the world. But let's say, I don't want just the world, I want Georgia. So I go over to this location, I type in Georgia, USA. Now that pulls me a whole lot closer. All right, well, the problem is this is year round, all years. All right, so I need to go over to this date and I need to say past 10 years. That gives me a little bit more closer. If I don't want to do past 10 years, I can jump this up and make it past 5 years. Set that data range. So there's still a lot of data here showing up. Now, because we're in the month of October, I can come down here and say custom date range, August to November. What birds have been seen in this area during that period of time? So that even limits it even more. Now, what I can do is I can scroll in. So there's one in Atlanta. If it's blue, it means it hasn't been seen recently. It's also a personal location. If it's just this blue flag with no kind of flame in it, if it's a flame, that's a hot spot that someone's seen it. So this was seen at the Porsche racetrack, I guess.
Well, that's the Porsche factory at the Atlanta airport.
Yes, and it was seen a couple years ago. I actually remember this sighting because it was pretty cool. But it's private property, you can't get on it. So that doesn't exactly help your situation. Now, if you go out to Athens over here, you can see that people have been seeing this Josiah lavender has been seen it on Whippoorwill Road. I know for a factor because early on, I actually chased birds on Whippoorwill Road and found out that it's actually his backyard. So that's a no-go spot. But it's hard to tell. This one nicely says private, so can't really tell, but you can see the different years. So it's been in 2 different years at that same location. It's most likely still there. It's just a private area. Another location over here was seen in 2017, so that's 3 years ago. It's going to be tough to see it there. There is a spot here. Here's a hot spot. So this is at the Athens Clark County landfill. There's photos of it. So if I wanted to go and check out this checklist, I can click on this and they've got a photo of it.
Yeah, that's a barn owl.
And they tell you in rafters of shed, clearly visible with numerous droppings. So you can go over there. The Athens Clark County landfill, you actually have to check in and then you can go birding. It's a good spot of birding. Been there a couple times. It's a fun one. But yeah.
Can you go south scroll out a little bit and go a little south of Atlanta? Yeah, that one down at the bottom left of Atlanta. That
right
one?
Here.
Yeah, show me that one because that might be my observation because I'm really proud of these barn owls that I found one time.
Where'd you find? In Peachtree?
Nope, that's not it. A little bit further south. Let's try down around Macon.
Down around
That's
Macon?
Columbus, that would be right. Maybe it's there, maybe it isn't. I don't know. Oh, well, I didn't see him August through November. That's right. So never mind.
Oh, here, let me take
Yeah,
that
no
off.
problem. No problem. That's going to probably show a lot more. Yeah, that dark purple one to the left of Warner Robins. I think that might be it.
Let's see here.
Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Melanie Fur.
Well, yeah, I sent her there to see it. So that's her report. I don't know where my report is. Anyway.
Oh, that's because there's a bunch of them.
Yeah, that's the bridge. And that's fantastic right there, that photograph, because that's wonderful, man.
There you go.
There I am.
Well, I'm gonna have to chase those because I need that for that county.
Well, they aren't there anymore. But anyway, they might be. Yeah, the nest was beautiful. Anyway, I won't get on that kid. So
Yeah,
that's go ahead.
That's my favorite. And you can turn like to street view, so you're not looking at satellite if you're trying to load stuff. And then I always like to do show points sooner. That just means there's less of that big purple thing. I can see a lot more points and click on them.
Yeah, I didn't know that was available because I don't even know what those purple boxes are all about.
Jim Hanna found these, and they were actually found breeding. Actually, you're here.
Yeah.
So that's a really cool spot. Another location that I know that's really highly hit is down in Eufaula. You can easily see them down there.
Now this is only for barn owls because our search is
Just
showing
barn
us
owls.
right,
Yeah.
just barn owls.
Yeah,
which
so
I'm a
there's
real big
various
fan of.
areas that you can see them over the time. Little Okmulgee down here,
Yeah.
and
Very good.
so yeah, it's a great way of using and exploring birds. And if you're looking for a species that is tough to find, right now brown booby is the bird that is not commonly seen, but it's been a big bird that's been kind of coming through. Lake Lanier has one right now, and it's been flying all around, so you can see all these orange. So it's all been seen within the last 30 days.
Yeah.
And then there's another one over here in Columbia County on Lake Thurman, and it's been seen both on the South Carolina side and North Georgia side. So these are two extremely rare birds that haven't been seen very many places. I think my favorite one is this one right here. It was seen on someone's porch up on top of a 60-floor tower.
Yeah.
And they have beautiful pictures of this brown booby just sitting on their porch.
Yeah, and I'm guessing that's a never before birder whose only eBird report is that bird.
Yeah, exactly. It was sent out to someone, and they're like, "What is this bird sitting on my railing?"
Right.
And everybody's like, "That's a brown booby." Like, what?
And I spent 18 hours on 2 separate days looking for that bird at Lake Lanier and never saw it. And this woman's, going out to pick up an Amazon delivery, and there it is, sitting on her chair.
Not even an Amazon. She's literally on the 60th floor of a building.
Oh my
She's
God.
way up there. And there was no storms, nothing. There was no hurricane that just recently came through. I mean, you can clearly see right now there's 3 brown boobies in the state of Georgia, and there's one up in Chattanooga. So I mean, they're making a big push through.
I can see I have a trip to take here later today, or maybe tomorrow. Well, Wes, this is a wealth of information, and if you'll click are you done?
Yes, I'm done.
If you'll click your stop share.
Yep. One second.
Don't log out. We're not done with you yet.
Just trying to get back to the main page here.
Or I can probably stop your share. I don't know.
Yeah, go ahead and try and. Here we go. There
you go. Very good. I'm ecstatic that you were able to join us today, and I really respect what you do in birding. You're approachable, friendly, and inclusionary, which I really respect a lot in people. And everybody on this call is the same way. And hopefully most of our viewers will take some of these things as examples to get more people involved in birding. And again, our Sunlit Earth nonprofit is about the beautiful colors in nature and the direct and indirect relationship of everything we see in nature to the sun, either through evolution, through the formation of the planet, all the way from the visible light wavelengths of the sun that get through our atmosphere and cause all these things to be visible. So remember, everything you've ever seen outdoors or even indoors most of the time, anything you've ever seen beautiful is beautiful because of nuclear fusion in the core of our star, 93 million miles away, and the fact that we've evolved these light sensitive organs to interpret that data. And to me, that is a never ending source of wonder. Everybody's got their thing. My thing is just the magical mystery and science of light. I think that's awesome. So Wes Hatch has given us 90 minutes of his time, and I'm very grateful. And you can study Wes's sightings on iNaturalist and Ebird. You can also join the Clyde Shepard Facebook or Clyde Shepard project page on iNaturalist and start logging your own observations. And you can join, most importantly, let me plug, you can join the Sunlit Earth Facebook group page. We think it's a great place to be. There's no judgment. There's no amateurs. Everybody is great on our page. Everybody is valued, and we want everybody to get involved in more birding. So that's this week's episode of This Week in Birding and Nature Photography with Sunlit Earth. Don't forget, next week, Buddy Harrell will be joining us for an hour's worth of his processing of his wonderful images. And I don't know if Buddy and Steve are still with us, but I appreciate you joining us. And does anyone have any parting comments for Wes other than he's awesome?
Thanks, Wes. That was very informative, and I've already gone out and joined iNaturalist Clyde Shepard project. So
Awesome.
Mission accomplished.
So thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you, Steve.
So that's going to start it off for us. And thanks again, Wes. And we hope to see you out birding real soon, my friend.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me on.
Adios.
Take care.